Dünyanın en eski tarihine sahip coğrafyalarından biri. Dünün izleri bugünü yaratırken adanın ihtişamını oluşturan her detay masal bir ülkeyi var ediyor. Gizem, görkem, tarih ve medeniyet, Akdeniz'in yumuşaklığı ve sıcak insanları, denizin ve gökyüzünün birleştiği bu yerde Malta'nın benliğini oluşturuyor. Sarı sıcak her sokağın sonu denize ulaşıyor burada ve Malta kadim bir dost gibi dünyayı kucaklamaya hazır.
Is that sick little heart in hope sewa lil jaratana lomtal poesia lil sinta hali donimli bilalewa lil jensahili ise alenia. In hope is yet lilora illuta jawa lianda fema das latsa awia litaftirba utafellil ledewa sultana ta al-kbira wa ma'liya. Is that sick little heart? Oh, Malta, diğer.
Our capital city is Valletta. It was built after the Great Siege of 1565. And the knights had to make very important decisions quite quickly because they thought that the Ottomans would be back. So they decided to build a city on this peninsula, but a medium-sized city. They could have built a much larger city, but at first they decided to build a medium-sized city. The city is built with the stone, which is the Globigerina limestone. We have been using it since prehistoric times. All our temples are built with this soft type of stone. In Malta there are 5 layers of stone, and this is the most important one. The houses are so beautiful because of this particular honey color. With the sun it gets a honey color. In fact, when it's cut it's rather white, but then it changes its color. The 3 cities behind me, for example, with Fort St. Angelo at its guard, and then Vittoriosa, Cospicua and Senglea, the 3 cities surrounded by the Cottonera lines. That is where the knights settled when they first came here in 1530. But after the Great Siege of 1565, and this year we are commemorating the 450th anniversary of the Great Siege, Grand Master Jean de Valette, who was a French, decided to build the city of Valletta. When the city was built, then the knights decided to remain in Malta. And this had a very long-lasting effect on our history, on our culture. The knights, as I said, were here for a long time, and this meant that Malta was some sort of Europe before Europe. They were French knights, Italian knights, Spanish knights, Portuguese knights, English knights, German knights. They all came here, they all contributed to this small island in the central of the Mediterranean. First, they built the fortifications, the walls around the cities, then the street plan. The street plan is the gridiron plan, straight parallel streets, going from one end to the other, from City Gate to Fort St. Elmo, and then from one harbour, from Grand Harbour, to Marsamxett Harbour. The knights built their auberges. That's where they lived. Every lang, and there were 8 langs in all, had its own auberge, and next to the auberge a chapel or a church, and then they built the main church in the center of the city. I'm referring to St. John's Church. St. John's Co-Cathedral is really the main church in Malta, even though the cathedral is in Medina, which is dedicated to St. Paul, our patron saint. St. John the Baptist is the patron saint of the knights, so it was dedicated to him. And inside this church, which is very Baroque, originally it was very simple. It was only at a later stage that it was decorated with heavy Baroque, the heavy Baroque style. There are so many things one can visit in this city. It's a museum city, you can say, which is alive. There are like houses which are open to the public, like the Casa Rocca Piccola, which is a typical house within Valletta, very elaborate as well, a beautiful house, and it's always interesting to visit, besides the museums and the palaces, also a normal house within the city.
This house perhaps is interesting to visitors because it has become a bit of a relic. All the other houses like us now in Valletta are banks and offices and shops, and this house still has the family living in it. It is 400 years old, and for 200 years after the Knights of Malta, Maltese families have lived in this house. The collection here is quite interesting. You will see things from the 1500s and the 1600s and the 1700s. In the 1700s, we have a whole lot of portraits of ancestors, father to son, and it comes right the way through to our generation. And I think the people who come here, they come from Australia and Canada and all over Europe. I think they quite enjoy seeing a house that is lived in and not just a museum. We are not a museum. My children have counted the rooms, and I think they counted about 50, but the main rooms are about 12 rooms on this floor. The piano nobile, they call it, the grander rooms. We are on a hill, so there are areas where there are extra rooms because of the hill halfway through, and we have little bedrooms and things like that if people come to stay with us. There is also, quite interesting in this house, an air raid shelter. And during the war, during the bombings, around the house, if what people like to see, our Maltese were very good at being craftsmen. We were 8 languages of the Knights of Malta, and that gave the opportunity to the local population to compare notes. If you were making lace, you could see what they were doing in France, in Belgium, in Holland, in wherever, all these places, Italy, Portugal, and our quality of work became very high and set a kind of standard of high quality. So the things here are not because we are a tiny little island in the Mediterranean. There was a lot of the international feel of what should be good quality. Handing this house down is a problem. as we are the last, this must not be broken up.
We are here at the Upper Baraka Gardens. This was originally the responsibility of the Italian knights to take care of these fortifications here, this part of the fortifications in Valletta. And beneath us is Fort Lascaris. That is where the war rooms are situated, and also the saluting battery. Malta suffered a lot during the Second World War. Malta was in fact bombarded the day after Italy declared war against England and France on the 10th of June 1940. So the war lasted from June 1940 to 1943. That is when the Italian Navy surrendered in our harbor here in Valletta. People here suffered a lot. Malta was bombarded day and night, mainly because Sicily is so close. It is only 20 minutes, 30 minutes flying time from Sicily. Convoys reached Malta, and this saved Malta. One can imagine being here at the Upper Baraka Gardens, noticing these convoys coming into our harbor, with people around the fortifications, especially in April 1942, when the convoy of Santa Maria actually saved these islands.
Right now we are in Lascaris war rooms. These were rooms which were dug out in November of 1940 by the British to have secret rooms where they could plan the Second World War. These rooms were dug out in the fortification walls, which were built in the 17th century by the Knights of St. John, and which surround the capital city of Valletta. Now Tony, who's next to me, will explain will give you some details about the museums, because Lascaris war rooms were transformed into a museum in 1986.
So here, 70 meters under the gardens of Baraka, they started to dig this place in November 1940. They finished digging in December 1942. So this is 2 years of digging under Valletta just to get the place safe from all the bombing that was going on above us. So practically we have here restored already 3 rooms: the radar room, the fighter control room, and the last room is where the first invasion of Europe, Operation Husky, the invasion of Sicily, was put together in 1943. So as you walk this place, you are going from one year to the other as you go along the war. So first, radar. The only advantage we can say that the British have here in Malta in 1941, radar. With that, you can detect enemy aircraft flying in from Sicily as they used to come here to attack Malta. Here, with very little amount of aircraft, the British could get in position to intercept the enemy planes as they come from Sicily to attack Malta.
We are here in Slima. Slima is a very popular town with tourists, even with us Maltese people. Up to the First World War, it was a small fishing village. And then, after the Second World War, a lot of construction was taking place, and the people came from all parts of Malta to live in Sliema. It is a beautiful town with many shops, many shopping malls, and also many hotels. 3-star hotels, 4-star hotels, 5-star hotels as well.
So Sliema is one of Malta's main destination spots. It's a very central location, very accessible from all areas, and travelers who are staying in Sliema can find different things to do. There are some nice hotels in Sliema and in the vicinity, and all the area is very easily accessible either on foot or by car or public transport. The airport is also very close to Sliema. It's just about 25 minutes away from Sliema. So it's a very interesting destination on the harbour. So guests staying in Sliema have access to both the cultural aspect of Sliema. The Palace is a 5-star hotel. It's been operating for 8 years. And it's one of the smallest 5-star hotels on the island of Malta. We have 154 rooms. The Palace is noted for its very unique style. It has a modern style, very different to the other 5-star hotels on the island. And probably one of the most interesting features about the Palace is the fact that it's a locally branded hotel, not associated with an international brand. So in the design and in the way we manage the hotel and in the way we serve our guests, we can offer a touch of local culture, which might not be available always in the internationally branded 5-star hotels.
There is a ferry which takes you from Sliema to Valletta. It is very convenient and very pleasant because you are traveling by sea. At the ferry, you can still get another boat which takes you around the harbours of Malta. The harbours of Valletta together with the harbours of the 3 cities. It is a trip lasting about an hour and a half. We are now on the bridge at Tinea Point, and this is very close to one of the most popular shopping malls. And when the British came to Malta, they built a bridge so that the island was part of the mainland.
We arrived from Vittoriosa on the typical Maltese boat called the Daisa from Valletta. We are in the most important city of the 3 cities, which is Vittoriosa. Vittoriosa has played a very important role in the history of our island Malta, because in 1530, the Knights of St. John, when they arrived in Malta, they lived here for 35 years.
كل في العشية كيف ما لعبش تميت وتموت صحة اليوم يجي معيسي بالسلوم ويشعل تحت الدقيقة فانا الشكيكن لتعلي يتعفي الدقيقة صحتي وكار قدي هاسك تموت كل يوم إستا ينسيكنا البويزيا كل شبت مسلوم وجو قلبي تشال نقرة فنال اللي تفيت الدقيقة سمعينو بنني بالهلوة كل دقيقة نسيني كل نوع.
We have just arrived in the village of Marsaşlok, which is the main fishing village on the island. It is situated in the very south of the island, and right behind me you can see the typical fishing boat called the Lutsu. If you look at the boat well, you will see that on the front of the boat you find two eyes painted. These are very important for the fishermen because they are a sign of protection for them when they go out at sea.
هالروح قاعدة تفتش عالشي المستريح بنني نسيني كل
Farklı uygarlıkların, kültürlerin bıraktığı izlerin etkisinde Malta'nın sokaklarında geçmişi görerek bugüne tanık oluyorsunuz. Denizin üstünde, taş evlerin yanı başında, bir topun gerisinde, adayı yüksek bir tepeden seyrederek tarihin gizemini çözmek için sorular soruyorsunuz. Malta'da bu eşsiz masalın büyüsüyle yolculuğumuz devam edecek.